Call the Operations Committee to order, please, for Monday, June 9th. We'll start with a prayer by Commissioner McCamey and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Anderson. Please stand.
Let us pray. Father, it's again that we come before Thee with bowed heads and humble hearts, thanking You, Father, for Your goodness and Your mercy. And Father, we want to thank You for Your love, for sometimes we feel like we're unlovable. I thank You, Father, for Your light, because sometimes we kind of lose our way. And I thank You, Father, for Your hope, because a lot of times things just seem hopeless. But I know that You love me, and I love You. Now, Father, we ask that You be with us during this meeting. We hope and pray that everything that we do will be pleasing in Thy sight. These things we ask in Jesus' name, and amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimous. Next is the appearance of citizen. Presentation by Barry Thacker, PE, Cold Creek Watershed Foundation. Barry, good to see you.
See you. Well, what am I doing here? Well, I was giving a presentation at the Cold Creek Miners Museum a few weeks ago, and afterwards Commissioner Anderson came up and said, well, is there anything that County Commission can do for us? And I said, yeah. I said, over the past 25 years, Cold Creek Watershed Foundation has donated over $1 million to Anderson County. Most of that has gone to scholarships to help students from Briceville go to college. And when we started that effort, one Anderson County elected official told us that we were wasting our time, that those kids had a better chance of going to prison than to college. Well, tell that to Dr. Tolliver and Dr. Tao and the other students that are now successful citizens. In fact, if you did a cost-benefit analysis, what's the difference between one kid going to prison versus that same kid turning himself around and becoming a productive member of society? Is that $100,000? We'll multiply that by 75. That's what we've done. And I asked him, why are we still paying property tax on historic sites that we helped acquire in partnership with Anderson County in order to promote tourism in Anderson County? So that's my question.
And what he's referring to is and how many acres is the Militia Hill site that you own?
The tax map says that there's 87 acres, but the tax map is wrong. This is land that was from the 1880s, and I got taken to surveying school from Windrock Land Company when we acquired this land. Actually, it's not 87 acres, it's 15 acres less than that. They own the rest of it. This was land that the Camp family, who owned the Fraterville mine, when that company went out of business, they sold the land. And this is land that is inaccessible, except that it has the site of Militia Hill, where the Tennessee National Guard had its base of operations during the Cold Creek War, but it only was part of it. We had to do a land swap. Back then it was Cold Creek Mining and Manufacturing, so that we could gain access to Militia Hill. It's also the site of the old Fraterville mine, where 216 men and boys died in 1902, and it's the site of the convict miner cemetery. You know, during the Cold Creek War, that was fought over the use of convicts in the mine, and there were 130 primarily young African Americans who died in that mine and were carried up to the convict miner cemetery. So that's the properties that we own.
And how much do you pay in property taxes on it?
Probably, it used to be like $1,500, but then the property value increased 60%. And like I told you, it's the principle of the thing. You know, what do you got to do in this county? You know, we're a nonprofit. We get no grants. We ask for no handouts. 95% of the money we have donated comes from my pocket and Carol Moore's pocket. And all we're asking that if we did this, acquired this property, we have to pay $2,000 a year in liability insurance so that we can open it up to the public so people can stop by. In fact, Gary Tackett lives up there. He kind of keeps an eye on it, and he said last week there were 4 out-of-state vehicles that he noticed when he was going up and down Val Mountain. So I think it's a benefit to the county, and all I'm saying is if we're a nonprofit, we've done all this for the county, why are we still paying property tax? And not only that, but we used to take the Briceville kids to the Fayetteville Mine Portal. That's now part of the state social studies standards. We can't do that anymore because of the homeless and drug addicts that live up there. We don't dare take those kids up there. We used to end our field trip at Briceville Church, which is on the National Register of Historic Places, that we spent $60,000 to modernize it, and access is blocked. We used to go to the church, ring the church bell, learn about the Cross Mountain disaster, and they go to the back of the cemetery and read the farewell letter of Eugene Alt that he left that's inscribed on his headstone. We can't do that now because access is blocked. So it doesn't seem like we're getting a lot of support in Anderson County. And we have asked once before to not to pay property tax, and it was denied.
Go ahead, Robert. We'll do commissioners, and I'll come back to you, Mayor.
Our nonprofit committee we've got, would it be appropriate to ask them to consider the amount for the property taxes that we pay it donate it to a nonprofit, then they in turn can pay the taxes.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I don't know if we need to make that as a motion to refer it to the nonprofits or.
Well, let's go ahead and get everybody's comments. and
Yeah,
we'll
let's
come back
talk
to
about it.
Mr. Foster.
Have y'all applied for exemption to the State Equalization Board for charitable,
Yes,
and it was denied?
Yes.
At the state?
Years ago,
How many years?
15 or more.
Okay. That was just, I know other organizations have done that. I think the Coal Miners Museum had applied, so I just didn't know that you'd looked at that option. Did they say why it was denied? I didn't know if it was like a letter that said, hey, this is why.
we were just told by Anderson County officials that it was denied.
Okay.
Mayor.
I was going to say the same thing to Commissioner Foster. So was Mr. Alley the property assessor at that time?
No, it was for him.
I know there's been kind of a growth in this particular area, and maybe the guidance has changed on what the state law is, but I will definitely reach out and get that information to you all and Mr. Thacker. Because, it's clearly a nonprofit purpose. It's even more so than some of the ones that I know actually
We
have
don't
an
get
exemption.
grants. You know, we get very few donations. Comes out of our pocket.
Or salaries.
Or we don't get any salaries either.
Never have.
I mean, I'd be happy with any kind of relief we can give them, but to me, just knowing the history of the area and what all happened there, I think if there's a way we could send a letter or a resolution to the state and get the state representatives and Lieutenant Governor McNally involved and just maybe request to look at making it another state park or a state historic site. I know I can't remember where, but they just added a new state park, and you think about when you go up 81 Crockett Tavern and places like that, those are all state-run places. So if the state, and I'm guessing you would be willing to
Yes.
let the state take ownership
Absolutely.
if you wanted. So we'd lose a little bit of property tax if the state took it, but look what you'd gain in the promotion and
And
the
tourism.
advertising of the area.
Absolutely.
So.
Commissioner Foster.
And I would just think too, with the correlation with the Coal Miners Museum that's gotten done recently, and that's obviously been in the last 15 years, that maybe that helps that case. And even if we send a letter of support to the State Equalization Board. I don't know if it needs to be a letter or a resolution. I would think a letter would be fine if that's allowed in that process. But I think that should be the route we go first and see what, yeah, it seems to be the official route first, but.
I kind of like, anybody else before I? I like to approach it in two different ways. One with Commissioner McCammy's, one with yours, and we'll do a letter. We'll get the law director to write one. They've all was invited to the meeting, but, I don't know if they could make it or not, but I'm sure that we can get them to watch this segment. And most of them, especially Lieutenant Governor McNally, he's been to the Coal Miners Museum and seen your presentation. And I mean, if nobody's ever seen his presentation that he does at Briceville, it's phenomenal. I mean, goes into character, and it's just, I praise you for that. You do a great job. And I've know a lot of those people that come from Briceville that you've helped. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, Mr. Chairman, is there going to be a motion, Michael?
Yeah, I don't care to make that motion for the state equalization and pursue that. And that, Mayor, you know maybe more about the process. I definitely know more than I do. If we need to do a letter or just if it's a call or how we need to do that. But I definitely think I'd like to pursue that process and help them out in pursuing that with the State Equalization Board.
Okay.
Mayor, would you want a motion from us to allow you to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
And I'll second the
How do
motion.
you want to word that in the minutes?
You're making a motion to allow the mayor to pursue that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
And the law director is shaking his head that he's in agreement as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
I don't really know what type of motion to make. I mean, it's probably a referral to the nonprofit committee, asking them to look at.
I'd be more than happy to go to the nonprofit committee and state our case.
Okay.
If you wanna
Well, I'll make that in
motion.
form of a motion, and we refer it to nonprofit committee
I'll second that.
for the amount of the taxes, whatever the taxes are.
Okay. Motion and second. Any other discussion?
Just a quick one.
Go ahead.
Mr. Thacker, appreciate what you and your wife
No,
or
my business partner.
business partner.
Wife's got more money than me.
But I want to thank you both for what you do, all of you. You've been around since I've been sitting up here, and you do a lot, and I just want to say thank you. How much is the taxes? Roughly? A couple thousand?
Less than 2,000.
Well, I'm wondering, I mean, I'm going to still support this motion, but I'm wondering if, would we be allowed as commissioners to take our money from the Waste Connections funds and make a donation to pay those? Robert says no.
No, it's in the contract that it's school-related items that are not in the school budget
Okay.
is all it can be used for, so field trips and sports and things like that.
You got ARP money left over.
Okay.
Yep.
We could possibly change that with our contract to where it could be spent on any nonprofit. Yeah, but the way it's set up right now, it's strictly for schools.
So your motion is for the operations committee to go to the nonprofit to see what type of help they could give?
Yes.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
You've got the second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Carol. ASAP quarterly update. Okay, yeah, come on up.
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was to speak. Thank you. As a citizen, I'm Beverly Kay in Oak Ridge. I just wanted to say I was down at PetSmart today, and it was wonderful to see lots of kitty cats down there and kittens, and we take pictures and write stories, and I've met Madison, who's doing a wonderful job down there, very sweet young lady. And when I was there, I was checking out, so I told the girl I always buy a lot of food because I have a lot of animals and help care for others. And the girl at the Dea said, I apologize, I take so long, but she said, that's fine. I said, but I was spending some time with the kiddies. I said, I do the adoptables page on Facebook for Anderson County. She said, did you post a picture of a dog that needed grooming? And I said, well, actually, I shared that from the Anderson County Animal Shelter page. And I said, yes, I did. And she said, I'm a groomer. And she said, I'd like to help you. So I just wanted to let you know that, with all of us working together, I think that was wonderful. She offered, her name is Samantha Spriggs, Spriggs. I'll give you her phone number. Is that okay to do publicly? Sure. 781-507-4496. She said she was working in the salon, and she said now she was working up front, and she said, I really want to do something. I'd like to help in that situation. She said, I live close to the shelter. I asked her if she was off this week. She said probably Thursday and Friday, because she asked particularly about that dog. And so fortunately we found out that the dog had been adopted and is going to a groomer already, so we were really blessed for that. I'm actually fostering a cat that was pulled from the shelter that was I guess it was a senior person that had been put in a nursing home, so I think the situation surrounding it was the cat maybe just had not been properly cared for. So the cat was pulled to rescue, and I've now got her and working with her. So I know there are situations, and I'm sure Damon can, also agree that there are times when we have animals that may need particular attention with grooming, nails, different items like that may help with adoptions and may help in just relieving some suffering of the animals. So I understand that Damon has got this number and he's willing to contact this lady. She was a very dear person and wanted to help. So I wanted to offer that. Also, I don't know the situation about the Facebook status. I know it's going to be discussed tonight, but I do the adoptables page, and I just wanted to let you know that it's only been there for a short period of time, 2 or 3 years. And I started it on my own because I wanted to help the animals and get more visibility, and we now have about 2,000 followers on that page. We have a lot of shares, a lot of comments. The Facebook page for Anderson County Animal Shelter has 24,000 followers. So I would like to ask that, we continue to use, this is a great resource to share, and what we do is we share from these pages both to the adoptables page, and we share educational information, and we also share to multiple sites around so that they get more visibility. Whether it's in Knoxville or Oak Ridge or Clinton, we share to get visibility for animals, especially those that become urgent, and the shelter has been gracious enough to say, hey, look, we're full, especially with the dogs. It's kind of a last call, and none of us want to see an animal put down, so we make every effort. Slim Dog is wonderful, and there are many volunteers that are helping, and we say, if you can't do anything, if you can't donate, if you can't adopt, if you can't write a check, then share. Just share, so that hopefully, we can continue to keep our numbers down. So I just wanted to give you that information and that update, and I thought that was wonderful news to have a groomer offer to help. She said, I want to help in some capacity, and she said, this is what my gift is, and I'd like to help you. So I wanted to share good news.
Thank you, Beverly. Anyone else? Appearance of citizens. Okay, we'll move on to ASAP.
Good evening, everyone. I've got a kind of short and sweet update for you all tonight, but as always, feel free to ask me questions. My name's Savannah Mead. I'm a prevention coordinator at ASAP of Anderson. It's just me here tonight because all of our other crew is spread to the wind. Shayla's at the Oak Ridge School Board meeting right now getting our vaping policy adopted, so that means that all 3 of our school districts in Anderson County are officially adopting our new vaping policy for restorative practices, which I'll cover a little bit for next school year, so we're very happy about that. Wanted to give you all just kind of a little wrap up of how we ended the school year. We did sponsor Lead Camp, Law Enforcement Against Drugs, and we got to go and spend a day with those kiddos. We taught them medication safety, effects of alcohol, effects of THC, effects of nicotine and tobacco with the help of the health educator from the Anderson County Health Department. And then we also presented Anderson County data and restorative practices to coalitions across the state at Partners in Prevention. So that vaping policy I was just talking about, now instead of on the first offense and out of school suspension for our school districts, which kind of ends up sending them home and they can twiddle their thumbs or maybe they vape some more. They are now going to move to in-school suspension and for the first offense, and they will be referred to our Coping Conversations program, which will teach kids alternative coping mechanisms and positive strategies to deal with stress instead of turning to substances. So we're very, very excited about that. Probably next quarterly update will bring you all more information about that and how that's going. Coming up this summer, well, I'll also say that we did bring our prom programs to Anderson County High School prom and Clinton High School prom. It was Wicked themed, so we bring a photo booth and we have some fun things. So I gave you all a poster, which is what was on their t-shirts this year. Drunk driving is no way to be popular, but we always have fun with them. We brought them a photo booth and we brought them some 360 video photos for their prom celebration. So we're very happy about that. Looking ahead to the summer, we've got a lot of fun summer things coming up. We're going to be at the Boys and Girls Club in Clinton and in Oak Ridge. We got to start last year in Clinton with our I'd Rather Eat Bugs Than Do Drugs summer camp, and we're very, very excited to be expanding that further this year. We're doing 4th grade and up, I believe, for Clinton, and we're actually going to bring a little shorter version of it to the younger kids in Oak Ridge. So we're very excited about that. I put a little graphic in there. That's a t-shirt we're going to give out to all the kids is what's going to be on there. Of course, we'll see you all at the best 6 days of summer with the Anderson County Fair very, very quickly approaching. And then International Overdose Awareness Day is coming up. I've put a little save the date in there for you all. It'll be on August 28th at First Baptist Church in Clinton from 6 to 8. We're going to be honoring the 71 lives lost in Anderson County for the last data year. Last time I was here before you all, I told you all that we had an official decrease for the first time since this data has been collected statewide. So we're still very, very happy to see that number going down and continuing to go down in Anderson County. So we will be hosting that event. Last year was a very wonderful event, and we had people there. We also had somebody from the Governor's Office of Faith-Based Initiatives speaking as our keynote speaker. So we were very proud of that event. We're hoping to make it even better. So if you could stop by, we'd love to have you all. More information will be coming out about that on our socials and probably in different medias and everywhere we can get that message out. So if you have any questions, please come see me. Last thing that's in there is that next week on Tuesday, we are doing a movie night. So we at Tinseltown in Oak Ridge, we are able to sponsor a free movie for up to, I believe, 48 people. We're showing the new How to Train Your Dragons and also free popcorn and a free drink. This is part of a summer event to have a safe and sober place for families to spend some time. We're very, very excited about that. So we'll have that going up all over town on socials, and the way to sign up to register for that, because there are limited seats, I'm sorry, but that will be on our website and on our social media. Probably more likely on our Facebook is going to be the easiest way to find it. So that's some kind of exciting stuff. Like I said, we've got movie nights, we've got some back to school events, we'll have some community trainings coming up, things like that. But other than that, we're just ready to rock and roll for the summer. The school year's ended, and so now we're looking ahead to the next one. So if anyone has any questions, I believe I've kind of covered that wrap up. Thank you all so much for having me here tonight. Can I answer anyone's questions? I covered it all, I guess.
Thank you, Shayla.
Thank
As
you all
always,
so much.
yeah.
Thank you, I
Like Mr.
appreciate
Wandale
it.
said, great job.
Thank you.
Mayor has no report. We'll move on to the Law Director's report.
We'll do something a little unusual, make it a two-part report. Cassandra, if you'll come up. Chairman Isabel and Commissioners, this is Cassandra Powell. She recently joined our office. She's in the process of being trained by Nicole. And actually, it's kind of a return for her. She's worked in the Law Director's office before, so she's familiar with what we do, and she'll be working with us going forward. She is, we're losing Nicole. I think most of you know that. And Nicole's been instrumental in getting Cassandra on board and training, and we're tickled to have her with us.
I would say how you keep from getting choked up. I seen it coming.
When's your last day? That is fast approaching.
Yeah.
Then just going specifically to the report, you can see the list of contracts we've gone through this year, or this month, excuse me. We have, as usual, numerous zoning cases at some point along the way between just being delivered to our office and the filing of liens in the registrar's office after we obtain judgment, which that's the last step. A couple of things in the other category that I would want to emphasize. Colt Jennings, who is a former employee of the Sheriff's Department, has filed a records request that's quite comprehensive, so I'll say. And we're in the process of responding to that. The first round of documents have been delivered, and we're now working on the next phase. Last month, I believe, we were asked to prepare a proposed letter to the Tennessee Valley Authority. You'll find that in your packet for review. Just as a bit of information, I've enclosed a copy of a release and compromise of claim that finalized a long-going lawsuit against this county, and that's in your packet as well. You can see the courtroom security report, and Judge Spitzer will be here to follow up on that at the commission meeting next Monday. Under the litigation updates, you can see the 4 cases in front of you. Since this report was filed last Wednesday, we've had 2 additional matters come in that we are dealing with. The first, and probably the most important, is the writ of certiorari that's been filed by ZAO ENA against about everybody in sight, including commission, including the purchasing department, including the school system, and including the entity that was the successful bidder and obtained the contract. Not tonight, but we will need to have an executive session with commission. I think the most opportune time to do that, in my opinion, would be next Monday, because we have a hearing set on the 17th that may clear some of this up. And then last Friday, I had a deputy come by who had just been served with a lawsuit, and we've sent that on to insurance, Paul Mangrum, and I think I haven't heard since then, but I believe that's something that'll be covered. And then that will bring me back to the ZAO case, and Commissioner Foster has inquired about why the insurance company is not wanting to defend this, and we're still in the process of looking at that. Any questions?
Commissioner Foster?
Yeah, and I'll just, reading the denial letter, I didn't see anything in there that why we should be denied coverage on that. Just, they reference wrongdoing. There was no wrongdoing by the board. It was a decision that had to be made, approve the contract. That's what commission, when the contract gets presented to us, we approve it or don't approve it. They kind of reference that. Just, way I read it, I didn't see anything there that would void our coverage. I know there's exclusions, but what they listed as exclusions didn't seem to be things that this case outside of there's obviously talks about wrongdoing, but a decision by the board is not wrongdoing. So that's just, talked to the law director right before the meeting, so I just wanted to, not keep you all out of the dark, but there were some questions I had on that denial that seems out of the ordinary for coverage.
And it's an ongoing conversation with the insurance company.
This I don't want to get off subject. What this dismissal motion, Mayor, what, is that something, I don't even know what that's about. I was just curious.
Ogle?
No, I think it's, are you talking about the Schubert versus
Yeah.
Terry
Oh.
What
Frank?
is, I mean, we good shape there, whatever it is?
In my opinion, we're in real good shape.
Okay, okay.
We have what I would describe as a failure to communicate, not on our end.
Yeah. So
we
we're
don't-
good.
Obviously, we don't want to get into the specifics.
I don't
of it
want to get
here,
into
but,
specifics. I didn't even want to ask the question, but I just want to make sure the mayor's comfortable and, okay.
My confidence in our motion is very high.
Okay, good. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I appreciate Commissioner Foster educating us on his thoughts, too. What about the provision, Mr. Chairman? I see you got a little bit of a hearing set, but
Yeah, that's to test the viability of our complaint. That's
Okay.
coming up on July 11.
okay, good.
Anything else of the law director?
I just wanted to go back to the letter for TVA. I read it. It looked very good. I just wanted to get the process going forward, and I know Commissioner Palmer's here, and make sure she's comfortable. What's the next step, and do we need to make a motion to pass it again, or is it good to send out, or I'd like to see it get moving.
Or have you already sent it?
I have not, because it was sent back to this committee from
Okay.
commission, and I would think, well, the pleasure of this committee as to whether or not it moves on to commission, and then we would go from there. I think it's the process.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it and send it to full commission for a vote. The letter does not require TVA to do anything. It's not holding her, harm in any way. So, very well written letter, very softball letter. It's just bringing to their attention our request. So I don't see how we'd have any concern with it. So I'll make a motion to move it forward, approve.
You want to read it out loud so the people at home know?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean,
It's short.
I mean, unless Commissioner Palmer, if you think it's a good idea to read it out loud, I'd be happy to. Okay.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's well written.
Okay, we got a second by Commissioner Barron. Any other discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Anything else for the law director?
I got one more thing on TVA.
Okay.
Jamie, is there anything from your perspective that you would like to know from TVA outside the letter? I'm talking about from being the legal representative for Anderson County. Is there anything, you don't have to know it now, but if anything comes to your mind that you'd like to have asked of TVA when we're in meetings, I know the mayor meets and I meet, please let me know if there's anything you'd like for me to chase down or ask a question of TVA. We had a meeting this weekend at some residents' homes near TVA, Bull Run on the other side of the lake, and it was really amazing. There's about 15 to 20 people there, and they asked a lot of questions about Bull Run and TVA and what the future is. So, but if you think of anything, I'd like to know it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I've got one more question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Barron.
Who is looking for this property? Is TVA doing the looking for property for a new playground, or
Everybody.
everybody?
Yeah. And anybody.
Well, maybe we need to put an ad in the paper and ask people to make suggestions or something. I don't know. But it seemed like it wouldn't be that big of a deal, you know? Somebody could spot a piece of property if it's available and check it out.
I think Mayor probably could speak to this better than I, but I think the big hold, if you will, is TVA doesn't have a board, and TVA needs a board, and they're kind of stuck in the mud until they get a board appointed. So hopefully all that get ferreted out, and then we can figure out how to process. But, you know, I've heard mention, and again, it's just words. You know, I've had some mention here that it's not TVA's responsibility. I agree with that, but it's not their responsibility. But as we all know, what we love about Anderson County is when you have community partners, you have corporate citizenship where they participate with the community. That's what you kind of seek, and that's what you look for, to your point. And I think they've mentioned New Henderson, that 125 acres over there, but I can't sit here and tell you they're going to give us any of that land, but we'll see. Everybody's looking. As Commissioner McCamey said, I know the mayor's on top of it. We'll see what happens.
Good point, good point.
There's 917 acres there where Bull Run sits, so we'll be watching it.
Next is animal shelter updates, requested by Commissioner Wandale.
Mr. Chairman, I know these are some of the things come out of the first workshop, operation audit, and new interest parking for the current shelter website, Facebook page, kind of talked about already a little bit, and then new software. I certainly understand we're not at a point where this is completed, but I just wanted to get an idea from the mayor, maybe Damon, on how these items are moving forward, if they need any help from us or any of that kind of action.
Okay. Mayor?
The operational audit, we're working on a RFP to get that published through purchasing. Then the new entrance and the parking, we had a budget amendment that's going through budget committee for the fencing. We got a quote on the fencing gates for access to the other property, and a new gate for the new entrance. That was approved by budget, so that'll be on full commission. Website and Facebook, I'm not, so one of the things on the Facebook, we do have a staff person that does manage that. Damon, I think at the workshop, you all mentioned, dreaming a little bit more, and Damon would like to change the job duties and add some additional job duties to one of the personnel and make them more of a shelter coordinator, and to do more marketing. And so he's got that job description in front of me. He would like to give that person a pay bump. So I'm going to work with Robbie and see what we have available there so that we can do a little bit more on that. It was mentioned that all the numbers were not entered for the stats for 2024. And so we have a work order in. Apparently it was a programming issue. So the software developer tried to do, if you look at those numbers, you'll see it kind of does like a ticker, so it's got some action. And all of those numbers were entered. So you see the euthanasia numbers, you see some of the adoption numbers, you see that there's the dogs, the cats, even the goat is in there, but the number is not working. So they're working on getting that corrected. New software, Damon has landed on what he is recommending is something called Animals First. We do have Comcate, which handles the documentation, if we have an issue out in the field or a call and they are going to issue a citation and they need to take pictures. We've been using Comcate for quite a while. That goes through September, but I'm looking to see if we can't get out of that or maybe just go ahead and go to the new software and just implement the animal control side at a later period. I have sent that for review just to make sure from a IT standpoint that there's no issues with this particular company, but it does everything from an adoptable portal to community support to third-party integration so that it can go with Pet Finder, some of the other things like that they're working on implementing. So that's what he's looking at. The particular company was started by someone in the municipal shelter business that had dealt with the paper process and teamed up with the software designer to basically catch the animal rescue and animal control side of things up. That's one of the issues that we have found. A lot of people will do rescue management or shelter management, but they don't do the animal control side. And so it looks like we finally got somebody that Damon is approving of.
It's a one-stop shop. It's really nice.
And so all those things are moving forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
All right.
Good update.
Anything else before we move on? Okay. Move on to Flash Sibescar Hollow Road and Highway 116. I did find out that there's actually a law in the books now that if you can't read and speak English, you're not supposed to have a driver's license. To drive a semi-truck, and they're supposed to actually start enforcing that on June the 25th. I work with some companies, and they have drivers that's from Texas and everywhere else, and they're going to lose some of their drivers because they can't speak English. And it's a federal mandate now. On June the 25th, they're going to start cracking down on that. So, and I know that Commissioner McCamey can tell you, Carroll Hollow's been blocked several times here in the last couple of weeks, and it's been hours. And like Commissioner McCamey said before, if they try to turn right, they could probably make that turn, but when they turn left and then there's somebody came by with a horse trailer and the road part of it was blocked, they got it blocked. So I mean, it's a mess. And especially when you got emergency services, it's got to go through there for 3 or 4 hours. So I don't know, if flashing signs are more effective, or even have a sign there at Carroll Hollow that says no left turn. I mean, we've got signs that say that you're not supposed to be on there, but when they get down there, and they're thinking, how am I going to make this turn? If they see a sign that says, you have to turn right. I mean, we don't want them on there at all, but if flashing signs would help. And where do we go to from here? I mean, Gary Long would be the county road. And then, of course, TDOT would be on 116. But, they're still coming. But most of them, when they stop them, they can't read the signs. So that's what I'm gathering. So hopefully when they start pulling those, when they go to that scene and they got the road blocked, they're supposed to go to jail. So that's how serious it's supposed to be if they can't read and speak English. So that's what I've been told.
I'm like you, I thought about no left turn, but for just passenger vehicles, if you could just restrict the no left turn
it'd
to
have to
trucks
be no
only.
semi left turn or something.
But I mean, like I said, I actually stopped a guy and told him, I said, if you turn left, it's going to cost you, because he was going to 4 Mile,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, if you'll turn right, go out somewhere and turn around and come back, and he did, and he didn't get hung up, so he could turn right with that tractor trailer.
Yeah.
But if he'd turned left, he would have been hung up on that. And it's really a dangerous for anybody to turn left right there, because it's right in a
Absolutely.
curve. And
I don't. I turn right and I go up to the top hill and turn around.
I don't know that it wouldn't be a good idea just to put no left turn. Ask Gary Long about it, but I mean, he'd be the one to catch all the flack if we ask him to do that, and he does it. But it's dangerous even in a passenger
It
vehicle.
is, because they come down there at such high rate of speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's been several automobile
Oh, yeah.
accidents there as well.
Yeah, so it might be a good idea to ask the road superintendent to put a no left turn there.
Yeah, we can send it to the highway department highway committee, and
Yeah.
talk about it.
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Okay. Got a motion second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
We got Mayor had something
Mayor,
here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to tell you real quickly, I think it was about a month ago, one of the blockages, I actually reached out to Commissioner McCamey about like what, a little bit further explanation, and I did reach out to Representative Scarborough, and we took a drive up there, and he did reach out to TDOT about getting some improved
Right.
signage, because you really can't see that little truck
No, you can't.
until you're probably, I think Commissioner McCamey had said you're already kind of into it before
Yeah.
you might even realize you can't make the turn. So I don't know exactly what he requested. I just can't recall here tonight, but I could definitely follow up with him and see. But I
Yeah,
do know
follow up, let us
he
know.
made contact with TDOT to request some assistance.
Okay. All right, we'll do both.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous, and thank you, Mayor. ACWA minutes, any discussion on those? Mayor, I know you talked about something about where, you know, we'd set money aside and all that, and then we couldn't do Lovely Bluff, and it looks like we don't have enough money to do any of the projects.
It's come in just I don't know, unrealistically high, even as whittled down as it is. So the county would need to match over or put in an additional above what we're already committed to, $2 million. And I
Just to
did.
do Hines Creek.
Yes, and I did ask, you know, okay, is this just normal inflation? And I've been advised that no, it's not. It's just exceedingly high. Basically, it shouldn't be that high. It's not in line with some of the estimates. And even we had 6 bidders pick up this last time. Only 2 submitted, and even those were almost $1 million apart. So you had that's, you know, you don't normally see that. You'll usually see your bidders a lot tighter, which means they're, you know, sharpening their pencil and they're really competitive and they want the job. So I do have a meeting. I'm going to meet with ACWA about how, you know, all of these projects are still needed, but maybe we can do something else where we do maybe partner with them and do some in-house. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with Hallsdale Powell to see if they had an interest in doing some of that as well, because we've already got full engineering plans. So, and maybe there are other grant opportunities as well. We'll see if we can't still get it done, but just maybe a different way. So,
And speaking about the grant opportunity, have you heard anything about the New River project, about any grants there?
I know Commissioner Beauchamp was going to speak with the congressman. You all, I think maybe Commissioner Wandell, you might know about that, but I think they are looking at the business development avenue, was my understanding. I need to check in with her and see. But that's been one of the issues, is that there are a very limited number of existing residences. So for instance, like with the CDBG, I mean, you've got to have the income requirement, but then you also have to meet a certain number of people to make the grant work according to their requirements. And but if you do something that will encourage economic opportunity, which I think is what you hear a lot of Mr. Burge saying, is if you can get water lines over there, then you're going to open up the area for economic opportunity. I think that will allow more opportunity in terms of that being a feasible grant. So I know we've still got the WIN grant that's still being looked at too, which is the underserved communities.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, one thing I thought about too, if we go ahead and cross over into Morgan County and try to pick some up with this grant, you know, it's going to help, because you've got the prison there now.
Yeah.
I don't know how far their water lines come up, so it may be, you know, we'll have greater numbers, although we're crossing the county line. That's the thought that I had too as well.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of these things are just truly commitments. I mean, I think back on, you know, Glen Alpine Convenience Center, and I remember speaking with Roger Houck, and he said the first time that he saw reference to that in their minutes was like in the 80s. And now we don't want to wait, you know, that long to get this done. But sometimes, I mean, you know, we're in postures where we continue to improve, and then we just wait for the right moment and seize upon it. And I feel like we're getting close. I do.
But normally, Mr. Phillips will be here tonight, Mr. Burge. Mr. Phillips, he's sick, and then Mr. Burge's father is real sick. So, well, they're not here.
Mr. Chairman, is there any, forgive me, I don't know my directions very well up that way, but would Windrock play a part in that? Would they participate with us in some fashion?
On that end, they haven't done, it's more TWRA right in that one area than it is Windrock. I mean,
Okay.
you can get to the Windrock trails from the TWRA trails, way I understand it. And then Windrock is more back this way on 116. But it's worth looking out to them, because if
Just-
they can say, you know, if we had water there, we know we could build more cabins.
TWRA could? Does TWRA have anything up there other than just,
Trails.
they just maintain the trails and
Yeah.
oversee it?
Mhm.
So it could be a
Part of that.
potential development for them if
Yeah.
we got water up there for TWRA. Maybe we can tie that in there somehow.
Commissioner McCain?
The Office of Surface Mining, they have grant monies available too. And that's the problem over there with all the strip mining. You know, it contaminated all the wells. And that's why people are screaming for water. You know, the few residents that are there, because their wells have been contaminated from strip mining. And I feel like that there's, you know, our congressional delegation should look at some federal funds, you know.
Yeah, that was part of
in
the
that.
discussion with Congressman Fleischman about bringing OSM on board because of that. And but that's part of the conversation with him.
But that's, you know, that's the reason that the surface mine, I mean, the strip mining is what caused the wells to go bad. It used to be some of the best well water over there, you know, but it's not anymore.
Anything else? Strategic planning update.
No updates this month.
Okay. Any unfinished business?
Yes.
Commissioner McCain.
This committee recommended to the full commission to have a workshop about General Sessions 2 court. The county commission then, in return, referred it to the intergovernmental committee.
Mhm.
And I don't know who the chairman of that committee is, but they didn't call a meeting this month, so I don't know.
That's on me, man.
But I'd just like to go on record saying I'd like to see that workshop begin at some point. I don't intend to vote for the county budget unless we get something ironed out on that. I won't support the county budget. I feel that I'm right in what I've been saying all along, is that they should pay their part. You know, I represent a city too, Oliver Springs, and I'd love to be able to let them have everything for free. But you know, I'm not gonna try that. But I think that when the city makes a commitment, they ought to stick with it. And it's not happening at this point.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner McCamey's exactly right. That I missed that. I just assumed it was going to be put on the calendar, but I'll put a request in to do that now. How many days we got to have? Is it 5? How many? All right. So today's the 9th. Obviously, we won't get it done before the commission meeting on the 16th. Would you be okay if I called it for this month anyway? Annette, will you?
What?
Go ahead.
It may take longer to get all the information together than the 5 days.
Okay.
But, I mean, I can work with Annette on that. You think we can get it all together in 5 days?
About,
Well, it has to be in the paper for 5 days. So it's gonna be, I wouldn't be able to get it in the papers on next Monday anyway.
Yeah. It'll, just make it to July.
July?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I'll put that as a motion to have the intergovernmental committee meet in the month of July. And Commissioner McCamey and that can get together, pick a date that works best. I'll be happy to do that. We used to do it before operations, but I don't know if there's other meetings in here before then. But we'll make it work sometime in July. I'll be happy to do it.
I think rules are at 5 o'clock, like today, it was only rules was the only thing, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I can do it on any day. Don't matter.
Okay.
Fine.
You got a second? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Unanimous. Okay. Any other unfinished business?
Mr. Chairman, I had a question, Mayor's been very active, and I want to thank her for all she's doing. I saw her on In Between the Lines. She did a great job. I'm going to butcher the name as normal, but there's this, how do you say it, Mayor? It's a corridor, Oak Ridge corridor, but it...
Yes, Oak Ridge Corridor Development Corporation.
Right.
Yep.
That's... could you just talk about it just for a second? No, sorry, didn't
Sorry.
mean to take so you had to
I
get-
waited till the end to eat the lifesaver from the cup. So if you go back, actually today, Governor Alexander was in town, and we had a meeting of various officials. He really pinned the concept of the Oak Ridge Corridor, where it's not really just a road or one particular corridor. It really represents a regional concept that plays upon Oak Ridge and Oak Ridge's role in the Manhattan Project and science and technology and nuclear. And with all that's happening in nuclear, basically we have a partnership between Anderson County. It's a development corporation. The mayor of Anderson County sits on it. The county executive, which they're changing that to county mayor, so that there's continuity. And then the mayor of Oak Ridge, which he has appointed Sean Gleason, who sits on city council, to be his representative. And really, it is an outgrowth of what you all did. I mean, you may discount sometimes your efforts, your resolutions, you may think, oh, it's just symbolic, but it does mean something. So your resolution to work in partnership with the city of Oak Ridge and Roane County on all of this workforce, what's happening in the nuclear sector, with TVA, Orano, TriSoX, all of this work that is coming our way. This particular development corporation has representatives from the city, from DOE. Currently, Gerald Boyd is, I call it, back for his encore performance. He's the chairman currently, leading everybody back through this, and a lot of meetings are taking place, a lot of work's being done, and the purpose is not to supplant or take the place of, say, if there's an industry coming to Anderson County. That would still be led by Andy Wallace and Anderson County Economic Development Corporation. Same thing with Roane County and their economic development agency, City of Oak Ridge. But on nuclear, if it is nuclear, the first touch would be with the development corporation, and there's more understanding and partnership what those needs are, and then they would communicate with Roane County and Anderson County. But it's not stepping in front of them. It's a true partnership.
And I appreciate, I like that idea, and I think you guys got a great start to where you're going, and which that's very beneficial, as you well know, and you talked about in the show there, is sending a message to DOE that we're all together and we're all working together. I mean, as the mayor knows, and many of you know, many years ago it was Oak Ridge was here. If Anderson County did anything, it was over here on our own, and Roane County probably wasn't even thought of at the time. So everybody's working together, and that's a good thing. But Mayor, one of the questions I had was, I heard that forgive me, I don't have the bill or anything in front of me, but I heard that I think it was at ETEC, they mentioned this new resolution to pass that the equipment and things of that nature that these nuclear companies would be putting in would get a sales tax waiver. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I did not know it actually went through, so I need to do some research then.
That, to me, that should have obviously came to the corridor and had y'all's blessings.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying. I learned about it Friday, that's a way for us to make revenue, right? I mean, property sales tax and things of that nature off the equipment. So if they're going to be coming in with, I don't know how long that lasts. That's a major hit to the city of Oak Ridge, Anderson County some, and Roane County. So I think Senator Yeager from Roane County pushed that.
Okay.
So, but if you could check into it, and if you need anything
Yeah,
from us.
I would definitely, I mean, I know just personally, one of the things I liked about the UPF project is it was, we saw a large influx of sales tax, and they, knowingly did that. They
Right.
believed that that was a commitment to the community, paying sales tax on those goods that were used to construct it. And I think the spallation neutron source was tax exempt. And that was one of the things, for Roane County is they would have liked to have seen that subject to sales tax. So I'd be happy to look into it.
I'm confident you three will look into it. So I didn't think you knew about it because I know how you are. You would tell us, and it just kind of caught me off guard at E-Tech. I thought, wow, that's kind of, I know none of us know about it, and Mayor don't know about it. That's so I appreciate you looking into it, and thanks for what you're doing because it means a lot. You and I guess former to be now Mayor Cresswell, executive now, and that Sean Gleason was impressive too from the city of Oak Ridge. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I may add that, Mayor, to the intergovernmental if you want.
Sure,
When I
yeah.
put the agenda
Yeah.
together, just to give you a platform to, and if you want to bring anyone from that group or speak about it, it'd be a good way to do it too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business before we move to new business? Announcements. Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
All of this work that is coming our